Russian President Vladimir Putin believes a war between Russia and the United States and its NATO allies is imminent.
I cannot help asking those who have caused this situation, do you realize now what you've done?
President Vladimir Putin at the International Economic Forum in St. Petersburg, Russia, warned the group of international journalists there repeatedly that Europe, the United States, and Russia were drifting towards full-scale war.
We know year by year what's going to happen, and they know we know. It's only you that they tell these fables, and you buy it and spread it to the citizens of your countries. Your people do not feel a sense of the impending danger. This is what worries me. How do you not understand that the world is being pulled in an irreversible direction? That is the problem. But they pretend like nothing's going on. I don't even know how to get through to you people anymore.
This was probably one of the most important political speeches since the run-up to World War II. And most historians agree that we are seeing a lot of parallels right now to the start of World War I and World War II.
Even the Pentagon admits that we're probably witnessing one of the most unstable periods in human history right now. I don't know how to get through to you. Your media is controlled. You're being manipulated. NATO is putting missiles on our borders. We're having to move missiles in. You've overthrown Ukraine. You're on an offensive. You're funding and protecting radical Islam. Do you know what you've done? The issue of a major world leader saying that we're moving to the brink of war, and it's not in our news, that's the big story. It shows how incredibly controlled things are. We have proxy armies of NATO battling Russian troops.
Right now, Senator, for us to control all of the airspace in Syria would require us to go to war against Syria and Russia. That's a pretty fundamental decision that certainly I'm not going to make.
U.S. warplanes attacked a Syrian airbase in Deir ez-Zor, killing 80 Syrian soldiers and wounding 100. The attack on the Syrian army was definitely no accident. It lasted 50 minutes and involved several aircrafts. Syrian intelligence even said they possessed audio conversations between U.S. commanders coordinating with ISIS on the ground. The U.S. administration wants the Syrian airbase to fall to ISIS. A Red Crescent aid convoy was hit on its way to Aleppo. The White Helmets had been running around telling politicians that the aid convoy was going to be attacked and to blame Assad when it does. Now, how did they know about it? Are we supposed to believe that an aid organization has access to signals intelligence? They knew about it because they were the ones behind it. There is video evidence of a rebel mortar being driven alongside the aid convoy, but Kerry denied seeing it.
The Defense Ministry said that the aid convoy had been accompanied by militants in a pickup truck with a mortar. We've seen no evidence of that. And by the way, that mortar could never have inflicted the damage that has been caused on those trucks. Now guess what? Everything I just said is contradicted by public information.
Thanks, Kerry. He lives in a parallel universe.
And I sort of felt a little bit like we're sort of in a parallel universe here.
The UN Security Council has become a joke. There is no ceasefire or any kind of agreement. We are headed to a war trajectory. And perhaps the only hope that this can be stopped lies in the American public.
Extremist groups will continue to exploit the vacuums that are there in Syria to expand their operations, which will include, no question, attacks against Russian interests, perhaps even Russian cities.
We're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province.
We've seen China go into a very belligerent tone, threatening war with the world. We have aircraft carriers and fleets openly lined up against Chinese ships in the South China Sea in the last 2 months, with the People's Daily and the president of China saying war with the United States is imminent. The elite is all basically running to armored fortresses and redoubts. And I see our very elites that tell us don't worry about war being the ones that gave nuclear reactors to North Korea so they could create atomic bombs, and who gave the missile secrets for ICBMs to China in the 1990s. The very people telling us don't worry about all this are the very ones that are pushing our world towards the brink of extinction.
Former Assistant Secretary of the Treasury under Ronald Reagan, Paul Craig Roberts, the CIA pretty much infiltrated, and other intelligence organizations as well. They infiltrated our media from the very get-go.
That's right. Putin was telling them at St. Petersburg, he's telling the media, if you don't do your job, you are leading us into war. Diplomacy is powerless if people don't care about the truth. And that's the case in Washington and with the NATO officials. And if the journalists can't challenge Washington and NATO because they don't have the independence to do that, then diplomacy is at a dead end. And so the minute that Putin and Lavrov finally give up on diplomacy and realize that it's a dead end and nothing can come of it, then there's nothing left but force confronting force. If Hillary gets in there, my prediction is...
we'll all be in jail.
No, we'll be vaporized before the end of her first term.
It was Albert Einstein who said, I know not with what weapons World War III will be fought, but World War IV will be fought with sticks and stone.
Please spread this video far and wide.